don't grow them like that around here. We, well, wouldn't that be nice if we could have a tree like that here in Great Falls? No, sometimes we get some a little bit, not quite this big, but you know, medium-sized ones, and there might be a tree or two in town in someone's backyard that does that. We have a lot of these though. These are the crabapples we see around town. Well, this is kind of a nice, big, thick one. What's interesting about this particular log is it's not rotten. It's solid up the middle. Most of these crabapple trees rot pretty quickly once they get this large, primarily because they have there's a lot of sugars in them, and branches break off. They get exposed to pathogens, fungus and things, bacteria that get in there and start digesting the wood and rotting them out from the center. But this one came from Fox Farm, and we saved it from getting thrown away, which is kind of what we do here. We're part of the Urban Wood Network, and we really like to make sure these trees like this don't end up in the landfill or just left to rot or whatever. Sometimes they can be firewood, I guess, too, but if we can turn them into some usable lumber and do something cool with them, we really like to do that. So what we're going to do today is mill this crabapple from out in Fox Farm and see what it holds. I can see some pretty cool patterns in the end of this, so we're going to see some really neat colors appear as we get towards the middle of this. I don't know if the video will show it, but there's kind of a star pattern of dark around this that you might be able to see, but you'll definitely see it when we get inside the tree. You can see it up here pretty easily on this end. The heartwood is very dark, so we should see some beautiful colors. So you can see this ring right here. So here we go. We're going to cut these into just some standard slabs, 2 1/4 thick, just so we can create some, maybe a table or two out of this, or some benches or something unique. So here we go. We're going to use our wood miser and slice it up. So I think we're all set. Dan just put a new blade on this, so we're going to check it out and fire this off and get part way down, and we'll zoom in and check it out. Here we go. Try to check that first.
Some of the darker wood in there.
Well, as you can see, some of the colors of the heartwood are starting to show through. The next cut down, I think, is going to be pretty amazing. When we get down one more cut, we'll stop and look at it again and take a quick talk about it and see what kind of patterns we get inside. So pretty excited about this. Nice and clean looking wood. And here we go, one more cut. Yeah, that's some really pretty wood. A lot of color patterns in this. Very nice. So what you can see here, very clearly distinctive colors in this tree. Out here we have, this is sapwood, and inside this is heartwood. The sapwood is the part of the tree that holds the nutrients and the minerals and food and resources for the living part of the tree. You got a pen on you, Dan? So interesting, what's kind of neat about this tree is you can see the growth rings pretty good in this region here, and it's not, this is a pretty quick growing tree, which is sometimes pretty normal in yard trees. They get a lot of water and a lot of nutrients. A little easier if I had my glasses, but this works. And it looks like right here. Yeah, some of those growth rings are, you know, a 1/4 inch or more apart, 3/8 of an inch. About 15 years or so of growth in the sapwood. If you come in closer one more time, I also want to point this out to you. You can see some distinct layers on the outside as well. This small fine line right here is a little yellow line. This is the living cambium of the tree. Then there's another line right after that. That's called the cork cambium. And then outside of that, you can see the bark. Now the living cambium is this right here. This is the only living tissue on the tree. The rest of this tree, the material to the inside and the material to the outside of that is non-living tissue. This living region uses the resources of the sapwood to grow. Oh man, that is so good. So as you can see, the tree grows to the inside every year, a new growth ring, and to the outside it grows bark as well. So the tree gets wider as it grows. A tree does not stretch and grow longer in the middle of the tree. That only occurs at the tips of the branches and the tips of the roots. those are called the apical meristems, the tips of the branches. They will grow longer each year. That's the only place the cells will elongate. And then once they grow a certain length, they'll usually bud out again and maybe grow a second piece. That section's called a node. And then those nodes will begin to grow wider to the inside and to the outside, just like these do, and slowly get larger as the seasons move on. If you focus right over here for a second, you'll see where a knot was cut off cleanly right here, and then the tree continued to grow around it and made this little bump here. So this tree healed nicely. Like I said earlier, one of the downsides to these apple trees and many fruit trees is getting exposed to the elements and rot starting in these. And you'll see this quite regularly if you have crabapple trees in your yard. You probably have some rotten hollow ends here. This one was taken care of nicely and it sealed up great. Because it has such a large sapwood, there's a lot of available sugars in here, much higher content in sugar than a lot of other hardwoods, and so they rot easily. The material itself that makes up the wood is also a sugar, not just the sugar that's stored in here, but wood is cellulose fiber. Cellulose fiber is made up of glucose, which is a sugar. We can't consume that, but other organisms can, and when they get in here and start digesting the sugars that's stored within the cells, they also digest the cells themselves and cause the wood to rot. These are some other neat features here. These are knots that were growing out at different angles. This area here is a bark inclusion. When this branch was much younger and it started growing out, a bit of bark was encapsulated within the wood as this branch grew. And then this is also a bark inclusion where two branches side by side grew together, but didn't really heal themselves well as they grew. It looks like they might have suffered some damage in the past as well right there. But that's all fine. We can work with that in the shop and make that a feature of something. But anyway, this is a cool tree. I'm glad we got to see inside of this. We're going to flip this over now and mill a few more pieces. Now it's important, if you look over here at these slabs, that piece right there is, and the one below it, are 2 1/4 inches thick. And I want all of these to be 2 1/4 so they're even when we go to build something. So what I need to do is make sure my mill is now referenced from this surface once I flip it over. So I'll explain how we do that as we roll this and we get all of our slabs to be the same thickness. So here we go. Ready? Yeah. That can stay right there.
You don't want to?
No, that's good.
Okay.
Okay, if you come around here, I'll show you this side of the machine. Hey guys, come around over here. Okay, what I'm going to do is show you how this works. This is the mechanism that raises and lowers the mill head. And so and then you'll notice that there's a meter here that shows me how far I am from the surface of the mill, from the deck of the mill. So I'm going to bring this down as far down as it'll go, and that's 1 inch. Now my blade to the mill deck is 1 inch of space. So I want that space to be 2 1/4 inches. So this is 2 inches. A half a turn is 1 inch. Now I need 1/4 of an inch, which is right there. So now when I make this cut, the piece that's left underneath will be 2 1/4, which matches these. So now, if I cut that, I'd have a problem. I'd have too much above the saw, and then I'd have to reset every time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up by measuring my turns, 1 full turn, plus 1/4, plus 2 little clicks, which are 1/16 each, and that's going to give me the blade width kerf compensation. So that's 2 slabs now underneath. There's 2 inches, plus 1/4, plus those 2 clicks. Now I have 3 slabs underneath. I'm going to go up 1 more and get a partial. There's 1 inch, 2 inch, and 1/4, and 2 clicks. So this is where we're going to start. All right, here we go.
gorgeous. It's really cool.
Alright, here we go. We're going to look at what this is inside.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
think, here's what I think. I think if we take this one and wait just a minute. We're going to spin it and flip it. Spin it and flip it. Like so, keep going, keep going.
Over here, Dan.
Go down there, Dan. There you go. Wait a sec, that's right here. I think there's a table.
That's gorgeous.
Now, if anybody would like me to build them a table out of this, you can just message me while you're watching and let me know, and I'll build the table for you. What I'd like to do, I can see this right now, is take this right here, make a straight line right here. I don't want this big hole in the middle. I'll tell you why in a second. Then I want to go right down here and bring those together so it's like a continuous amount of sapwood between them, and then fill this void in and this void in here with some resin. I think clear, nice clean edges would be great, and then I think that would be great. These are just some beautiful, beautiful bit of crotchwood here where those branches were. This is really cool. That nice branch is healed over nicely and left us a nice, clean, cool feature. The other thing we could do, I'm going to try and position it one other way really quick. This way, and I don't know. I think I like it the other way. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, this could look cool too. Again, bringing
Kind of
those together, and one end has those, which would give it a unique feature. Might even bring this in a taper, then
Kind of a bar top.
that'd be a cool bar top, yeah. I love it. So if you want a table made out of this, I can put your name on it. And when it's dry, and next year, maybe year and a half, we'll see. We'll build you a table. All right, we're out of here. Thanks. Goodbye.